In the second of three special episodes called Voices of Change, we meet two extraordinary young Asian Americans who have fearlessly taken up the cause for social advocacy through both civic leadership and the arts in building a better future for themselves and their community. I'm sure you'll agree that their amazing stories serve to inspire and empower us all. That and much more. Next on Asian Pacific Voices. Let's meet Mina Fedor. She wasn't your average middle schooler when the COVID-19 pandemic struck. Seeing a sharp rise in xenophobia toward her community and the fear of speaking out about it, Mina felt compelled to form her own organization called AAPI Youth Rising to empower youth in creating awareness about the attitudes and fears driving this hate.
I think Asianness is pretty good.
I like Asianness.
Let's take a vote. Okay. Now.
Asianness.
Oh, that's a thing. Asianness is a
Maybe we should
thing.
do API or AHPI.
Asianness is a thing.
That's a bit of a mouthful.
I think get Asian.
Like there might be some editing at the beginning and the end, but like
Yeah,
unless there's a big mess up, it's
No, well,
I think I describe myself as I don't know, a creative person. I like to be making things all the time.
it says it's examples of finding a specific topic. So we can't just be like Asians. Our topic is about Asians. Be specific. Be specific. Like
I founded AAPI Youth Rising March of 2021 when we organized the AAPI Youth Rising rally in Berkeley, California. We wanted this rally to be all about youth voices and amplifying the Asian youth experience and give us a platform, I guess, to speak out and invite more youth to speak out as well. I hadn't seen as many youth activists or youth voices, and I'd seen a lot of adults speaking out, which is good, but I wanted youth to have a bigger sort of stance on that. So we decided to organize the rally. We invited, youth group leaders, a few council members, and over 15 youth speakers.
I am saddened by our elders being attacked. I am saddened by what has happened in Atlanta. And I am saddened by all the communities of color that are affected by racism. Is this what it means to be Asian American youth right now? But we as youth have a chance to build our future, to raise our voices, and to demand change.
We wanted this rally to be all about youth voices and amplifying the Asian youth experience and give us a platform, I guess, to speak out and invite more youth to speak out as well. One of the big things that we've been trying to focus on as an organization is focusing more on advocating for diverse education, specifically Asian American history, because it is so underrepresented in typical American classrooms. And throughout my life, even living in diverse areas and living in California with such a high AAPI population, I still haven't learned that much about Asian American studies through my classrooms. I had to sort of seek it out on my own, which I mean, there's a lot to learn and a lot that people should know about without having to seek it out on their own. It's really important for combating stereotypes, especially. For example, the perpetual foreigner myth, the idea that AAPI haven't been in this country, that can be disproved by the fact that we've been here for, I guess, a very long time, and learning about the historical events and things that have happened to Asian Americans in the past, and the ways we've contributed to society, or the ways that we've been affected by the American government. It's important to learn to combat that stereotype, and just in general.
My name is Siu Ri. I'm a Korean American, and I am in freshman year of high school. Especially since COVID-19, I think it's really important that Asian voices get out there, especially youth voices, because we need more perspectives on current events in the world right now, especially in America, because anti-Asian hate has been rising since 2020 when COVID-19 first struck. And I think that we need to use that sort of attention that we've got since 2020 to have a rise in Asian voices and make sure that everybody's perspective is being included.
We developed a pledge called the 1 by 180 pledge, asking people to support teaching just one day of Asian American history in in one school year. There is, I guess, sort of a standard of having 180 days. So we're asking for just one of those days to be about AAPI history. So that was the basis of the pledge, and we asked people to sign it, and it's reached a lot of people so far, but we really wanted to do more and bring more of that history into the classroom. So we developed a lesson plan called the 1 day of AAPI history lesson, and we've been volunteering to teach in classrooms, and we've taught it in classrooms across America, virtually, some in person. We've been in a lot of schools in the Bay Area, in Los Angeles, I think one in New Jersey, and yeah, just all over. So that's been really fun, I guess, getting to directly teach and talk to students, and yeah, we can't wait to keep building off of this idea of education.
Hi, my name is Mina Fedor, and I'm the founder of AAPI Youth Rising, and I'm excited to share our 1 day of AAPI history lesson with you. Why Asian American history? Well, Asians have played a crucial role in development of our nation since the first people from Asia settled here many centuries ago. From Chinese railroad workers, Filipino labor organizers, Indian shipbuilders, Vietnamese and Cambodian fishermen and women, to modern-day civil rights activists, Hollywood stars and entertainers, Asian Americans have shaped our society. We're excited to share a little bit about these stories with you today.
Today, there are so many AAPI heroes to celebrate. That's Amanda Nguyen, an activist and Nobel Peace Prize nominee. Her video went viral last February when she called on national media outlets to better cover the wave of anti-Asian violence targeting elderly residents from the Bay Area to New York City.
I'm Cooper Hong. I joined AAPI Youth Rising in July 2021. As of 2 months ago, there was an experience with some friends of mine, some Asian friends of mine, where we had a lady come up to us and say, "Go back to where you came from," and then just walk away. Now I kind of realize how that's part of a bigger issue we face in society today. It's sad to see that we still have to face that kind of discrimination today.
Well, I'm Jasleen Lai, and I'm Taiwanese American, and well, hate crimes that occurred to my mom and me both inspired me to learn to speak up and join AAPI Youth Rising. In my case, when I was about 3 or 4, my mom was speaking to me in Chinese, and some lady saw her and I, and she said, "Speak English." At that time, I didn't really know all the hate that was involved in that comment. I just simply thought, oh, she wants us to speak English. But as I think about it now and how naive I was, it just makes me think about how all this racism and hate is even being exposed to us young children, and just all this hate in our country.
My favorite thing that I think we've been focusing on quite a bit is the Asian American heroes as well, and talking about AAPI who have spoken out and who have done things in their community, like artists, activists, scientists, all that. And that's at the end of our slideshow, and it's really nice to learn about all these people that haven't gotten that much recognition for their work and their actions, but that's probably my favorite part of the whole lesson. But we've definitely been trying to emphasize that we can do things, and that Asian Americans are acting and speaking out and all that. So.
And last but certainly not least, our youngest uniter. Mina Fedor is a student from Piedmont, California, who founded AAPI Youth Rising when she was 13, an organization dedicated to educating the public on AAPI American history and mobilizing Americans to stop violent racist attacks against the AAPI community. Please join me in giving all of our uniters a huge round of applause for their work in communities across the country.
I was honored as a uniter at the White House at the United We Stand Summit, hosted by President Biden. It was a really amazing experience and super surprising to me, I guess. I didn't, I just got the email out of the blue and I was like, oh wow. It was a really amazing experience. I met a lot of people and I was really excited that I guess our work has sort of been recognized, and I wasn't up there just representing myself, but I was representing my community and Asian American youth as a whole and my organization. So it was really, really a great experience, I think.
It's like, get Asian. No, wait, it should be a youth voice or AAPI Youth Rising.
My hope is through AAPI Youth Rising, people will know more about like Asians in America and experiences that they face.
I'm Ashi Gupta. I'm a South Asian, and in most situations, we're not necessarily the target, but I think it's very important to amplify other Asians' voices and stand as a community as one.
I think the most effective way to educate people on the rise in xenophobia towards the Asian American community is probably just general media coverage as a whole. I mean, a lot of people still watch the news, and having those stories out there are really, really important. But also just in your school, and knowing the history of the hate crimes that have affected Asian Americans is really important. So I think on a certain level, there needs to be a conversation in the news and media, but also just for youth in your school, in your classroom as well. So probably those two things. I really want this to keep going, I guess. Maybe not as a career path for me, myself, but I hope it just continues on.
When Ashlyn So puts her mind to something, there's no stopping her. Merely 3 years after attending her first sewing class at age 6, this young fashion designer made her New York Fashion Week debut, presenting an enchanted collection among designers 5 times her age. Seeing how Asian hate crimes were affecting her family and community, Ashlyn began using her platform as a designer to empower herself with a voice not only through her designs, but by organizing large public rallies in speaking out against hate crimes targeting Asian Americans.
When I was 6 years old, that was when I first started sewing, and that was when I asked my mom if I could go to a sewing class. And that's when I fell in love with fashion and designing and everything about it. And it turned into what is now today, my brand and all of the lines and collections I've done. A lot of the designs and fabrics that I use are all inspired by something I see like every day. A lot of the designs are inspired by like everyday objects or quotes I see, and I kind of like turn that into a design, and I think about that in my head, and when I do, I kind of sketch it out, and that's when the whole process kind of starts.
Really nice. Did you just do that?
No, I did this.
When did you start?
I did this a while ago, but I never actually made it.
Oh.
I don't remember.
This one.
I don't remember what this is for. I think.
Growing up, Ashlyn as a child, of course, every mom says that they're very cute. She's very cute, and I always see that she's a little bit different. She's very creative. She always have a mind of her own, and she also knows what she likes. So that's very, very different about her.
For one of my collections, it was inspired by the Stop Asian Hate movement, and I wanted to make all the colors blue and white to represent porcelain. And I was first aware of it, like whenever I go to my grandma's house, you know, she would always have like porcelain bowls, and whenever I'm at her house, I'm always surrounded by my culture, and I love that. So I wanted to kind of capture that in a fashion sense, which is why I wanted to make all of my designs blue and white.
So this piece right here is inspired by the Chinese sailboat and like their sails. I wanted to interpret them in my own way. I used a lot of the zip ties to create a lot of things sticking out. When someone goes low, you go high. And that's kind of what I wanted to create with these zip ties effects, because they're kind of like going up, and it's like symbolizing how we are going high. We're using love over hate. So I also used some of the foam to create a better structure for the pieces, and it kind of also represents how we're building this platform so that the next generations to come, they won't face all of these issues, and we'll create a better world for them.
This evening, we ask what's being done about these attacks and how you can help the AAPI community. In San Jose and San Francisco today, a powerful show of solidarity against anti-Asian hate. The rallying cry, enough is enough.
Nearly half of the reported anti-Asian hate incidents across the country in the past year happened in California. These are just some of the faces of those targeted here in the Bay Area.
And 2020 was when kind of the whole xenophobia thing started, and I was 12 back then, and that was the first time I had ever seen something so horrific happen to my culture, and my people.
I try not to show her any negative news. Adults know how to process it, but kids don't, right? It would just scare them. I thought, why? And as she gets older, during the pandemic, I couldn't stop her from watching the news anymore. It's getting more and more difficult. So her first impression of the news was an Asian elder getting bullied, and all that he was trying to do was his everyday recycling cans. He was just picking up cans and providing for his family. So that really struck a chord in her, and then that's also when I realized I can't shield all this away anymore. She will be exposed to this, and I just have to accept it. And it's better that I'm next to her while she's being exposed to this kind of news than not. She really starts taking it to heart, and it really makes her feel like she wants to do something. And that's when our whole conversation started, and I asked her, what would you like to do? What, in your capacity, what do you think that we can do? And that's when she told me she wants to do a rally. And she thinks so much bigger than me. And I was just like, oh, rally. I thought you're just going to do some little fundraising. Okay, rally, here we go. We're going to do it. I've never done it before, but we will figure this out together.
I've seen, all of the Black Lives Matter protests, and I was so shocked because I couldn't believe people could actually, do this. And just because of, a person's skin color, right? And I was really inspired by all of the protests that they've done because they brought so much community together. And I wanted to kind of bring that to the Asian community, which is when I decided to organize my first rally. And that was when I kind of I didn't really know what was going on, right? And I thought, maybe I could start small and have a rally in my, in my little town, and I could kind of bring people together. Before I knew it, there was so many people there, and there was, different cultures, different ages and ethnicities, and I was really happy to see, such a big crowd coming together and in support of, this message. And that was when I kind of all started, and it picked up, rallies after rallies every weekend, and I would be able to speak at them and kind of bring my perspective as, someone younger, right, to people. And I thought it was amazing because I had never seen something like this. I never really connected with my culture in this way, and I never really saw so many of my people coming together, and I thought it was truly inspiring and amazing to see this unity happening. And I call myself an accidental activist because I never intended for all of this to happen, but I'm really happy it did.
Pouncing down the runway of New York Fashion Week.
My last two collections were kind of had a purpose, inspired by the whole Stop Asian Hate movement. And I wanted all the models to be, you know, they were all activists and they were all people of color, and I really loved that, you know, we kind of connected on a deeper level, and I was able to kind of show that with like different little objects I added onto my designs. It's kind of showing how people are people, and we should respect each other and our differences, and we should celebrate one another. I wanted to really capture that through this collection. I went through like a little incident of my own, where like me and this other peer kind of got into like a disagreement, and he like kind of like punched me in the face, and then he like called me a racial slur. So it definitely like was a really big struggle with me at first, like mentally, because I mean like the punch hurt, but it didn't like hurt me outside as much as it did inside. I know it's like definitely very hard to talk about the things that have happened to you and things that people said to you or done to you, but you know, I've found the courage to be able to talk about it, and I think it's really important to do so because it's not for yourself, and it's for other people, for your peers, for other victims. I think I'm definitely close with my mom more than a lot of other people, but I think we have a really great connection, and you know, I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without her. She's been helping me every step of the way, and she's been there for me and supportive of me. You know, she helps me with, like, you know, supporting me, like, in the mental sense, but also, like, you know, helping me put my work out there.
Our parents or grandparents have set it up so that, you know, we can succeed, right? And so as we are able to succeed and provide better for our kids, I think this allows the kids to think about society and to think about things that are happening around them. That's when the kids can flourish and be able to say, okay, we have to right these wrongs, whether it's from Asian hate, to climate change, to any injustice that they see in society. And I see a great future for them because they are all about righting the wrongs. And I think that this is just so great. And this is something that we all kind of wanted to do but weren't able to when we were younger. And I think that this generation is also more courageous. We've come to a point where we felt like, okay, injustice is injustice and we have to speak up, and that's Ashlyn's generation.
Definitely the other generations have helped us pave the way and have been able to kind of bring courage for us and feel like we have a safe space to actually talk about these things. And there's still so many people that aren't able to talk about these things, and it's important for us to actually finally be able to speak up and stand up because now we have a safe space to do so, and it's so important.
Thanks for watching today's show, and be sure to check out all other episodes and past seasons of our program on our YouTube channel. I'm Kathleen Choi, and I'll see you next time on Asian Pacific Voices.
This program was made possible in part by the California Arts Council and San Diego County.